Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brilmann. I'm here joined by Solari, and we are reviewing the first game of the second day of LCL Summer Split 2020. And when we have ourselves Crow Crowd, against Unicorns of Love, and we are already in the bans as we see here. Thresh and Kalista being banned for Unicorns of Love, and Ornn and Syndra being banned for Crow Crowd.
Hello and welcome, Solaris here. In the meantime, we have the third ban coming from Crowd Control. And I must say the bans are being pretty usual by that moment. We have seen a lot of Ornn being played throughout the last day. We have seen Syndra on mid, we have seen Kalista, Thresh, Nidalee. We know those are very strong champions, and we know that both teams can play them pretty well, as well as the last ban coming for now from Unicorns of Love, Graves, very decent jungler. So far the bans have not been anything unusual, so I'm much more interested in what's gonna happen in the picks.
And yet again, we see Trundle being picked. We have seen Trundle being picked already in the game, but it turned out to be quite poorly for... I'm not exactly remembering the team we were having, but the last time Trundle was picked on the LCL, it wasn't exactly the best performance we saw. Being answered by Wukong, very good pick because it's a very good top laner, and Ornn is specifically one of those picks that can actually bring Wukong into some very desperate action over here. And we have Aphelios probably getting locked. Yes, he's locked. A very good pick, especially thinking about that we have Kalista being banned right now. So it's a very good answer to that.
Indeed. Crowd Control doesn't have too many options to answer these Aphelios with, but we will see what they will pick. For me, the question is whether this Trundle is going to go to the top lane or it's going to go to jungle, and we are yet to see the answer to this Wukong. In the meantime, we have... looks like ADC is being picked for Crowd Control. That's Ezreal, and of course there's Yuumi coming for him. We have seen this pick already. Ezreal, Yuumi, very mobile combo, very deadly for the enemy team.
And it's being answered, just to keep things on track right now, it's being answered with Lulu, which is especially very good in this scenario right now, because in this bot lanes combo, you don't really have to aim that much on two targets. You only aim on one target and you get your job done as Lulu. So it might be a little bit in a bit of a better perspective for Unicorns of Love. But I just wanted to point out that we had Ezreal and Yuumi being picked in the moment when we had a heavily roaming team setup. And right now, I don't really know if CC are going for that team setup or not. In the meantime, we have ourselves a second ban phase for both teams as Volibear and Twisted Fate go into the abyss.
I must also point out that last time when we saw Ezreal Yuumi combo on the bot lane, they managed to ban Lulu prior to this, because they know that Lulu is exactly the support that can make this combo. She can give them some hard time indeed.
I do specifically think that that CC right now do really need somebody to roam heavily from the mid lane, because I think that this bot lane will need some support, especially with the fact that we've seen Gadget playing. We know he is quite of an offensive AD carry.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a very interesting match over here. Renekton is going banned as well.
It looks for me like CC will go for something like Orianna for the mid lane. However, they just decided to ban her, just as I was saying.
It's speak of the devil, here she comes. Lee Sin is getting answered into that Trundle. Actually a very good pick. I think that it is a very good pick because he can easily try to fight a little bit with that Trundle. And in case of mobility and speeding around the map, it seems like Lee Sin is doing even a little bit of a better job, especially because of that, because of the wards, and the ganks will be very, very efficient from him. So it might be a very good pick from Ananasa, because he really likes to play those fast and just burst damage jungle champions, as Nidalee, for example. Seth is being picked, a pretty relative top lane pick for Wukong, as well as Seth will be able to stop some damage coming from Wukong because of his W, so it might be a little bit of a good thing.
It might be. We will, however, see how it will go on. Set will be for sure a very good asset to crowd control in any team fights they're going to initiate with this Trundle, and then Set just comes in, and we have Galio on the mid lane. No, not really. That's Zoe. Galio could have been a very nice pick, but probably crowd control thought that they already had enough tankiness for the
And
team.
Noman's decided to answer with a Z onto the Zoe. And this is going to be very interesting if Unicorns of Love are going to pick that in, because we know Noman's is an aggressive mid laner as well. Cast it in. It's even a better choice. Exactly as I was speaking right here, but it's a little bit of a different thing because I thought that CC are going to go with some roaming mid laner. In the end, it seems like Unicorns of Love are just looking to annihilate CC with an amount of damage that they have right now. Because if you think about it, Wukong has an immersive amount of damage. Lee Sin has an immersive amount of damage. Same goes for Aphelios, the same goes for Kassadin. So it seems like it's going to be a very, very hard fight for CC as they will need time for that Trundle and that Seth to scale and be ready to stand and go, nope, you're not getting me.
Yeah, there is a lot of just straightforward damage from Unicorns of Love. And it's gonna be some hard time for Zoe because Zoe is a hard champion and she apart from the fact that she's very mobile, which will probably help her in the team fights, she probably will have some hard time here. At the same time, however, if she is not controlled in the very beginning of a team fight, she can give some insane amount of damage.
But we're speaking about Kassadin here. Like Zoe into Kassadin, it's not exactly the best of the trades in my opinion. Because if you think about it, Kassadin has the same ultimate that Zoe has in, not exactly speaking, not in the most of the forwarding ways, but it's still Kassadin has a little bit of more of an advantage because he can just go on you and catch you while Zoe has to come back from the place she was popping out of her ultimate. So it feels like a little bit more in the favor of Unicorns of Love. I think that they're going to be situated around the bot side of the game quite heavily. And I have a feeling that this bot lane from CC will have very hard time to secure those dragons.
We will see how it's going to happen. I must also point out that Kassadin is indeed a very good answer to this Zoe pick for the mid lane because he has exactly that control that Unicorns of Love will need to stop damage coming from Zoe. And then it's just a matter of a single POW from Kassadin to get rid of this power.
And it seems like we might have a little bit of a skirmish here in the bot side as Santos and Gadget are already looking to try to squeeze that Zoe into a sandwich, although it might seem not to be the case because Hanninger is here on his watch, not letting anybody come near his mid laner and support. So there might be no cheesy tactics here on the first level.
But that's something we saw already on the previous game. We have seen Yumi coming to the mid lane just to support her mid laner in case there is any very early gank. Oh, we have a pause in the meantime.
And we have a pause. I don't know what's going to be an issue. Probably our Russian colleagues might be explaining what's the problem right now, and the pause is quite lengthy as we are going to magically pop up into the action yet again. Thank you, Solari.
You're very welcome. Let's see how it turns out for both of the team. So far, we have mid laners from Unicorns of Love helping in the jungle. While it looks like Trundle just decided to go on his own. Very understandable, he has more sustainability in the jungle in these early levels.
Especially because Lee Sin just needs a little bit of a time to start scaling for real right now. And it seems like Zoe is going to hit No Man's heart in the beginning of the game, which is absolutely understandable because in the very beginning of the game, Kassadin is not exactly that much of a threat. But the moment he's going to hit his sixth level, he's going to wreak havoc onto that Zoe.
I would not be surprised if we will see some early ganks coming to the mid lane from Trundle. They might just try to annihilate this Kassadin on the very early levels before he hits his level 6, just not to give him any possibility to gain any advantage before Zoe.
And it seems like Lee Sin will be able to hit his level 3 a little bit earlier than Trundle. Yes, that is correct. So it is a little bit of a question right now if we're going to see any kind of a gank onto the top lane, because it's been heavily pushed by Non-Holly, which means boss is under his tower, and that means he's opened for a gank from Lee Sin. However, on the other hand, the damage might not be enough, as Mighty Dragon is now looking towards that mid lane. Maybe there's going to be a gank, maybe not. It looks like it's going to be just a little bit of a scare off. And just to notice, this Yuumi and Ezreal is pushing hard on that lane. We have a little bit here of an action here in the top lane. Here comes the W from Non-Holly, connects onto the boss. True damage comes in, and boss is taking heavy damage here.
He will have some hard time in the early game, indeed. And I must point out, to the point that you mentioned before, Ezreal and Yuumi indeed are very pushy. Last time we saw this combo, they were forced to stay under their tower, not able to move anywhere. But I think that time we had Kalista playing against them, so understandably she is able to deal more damage than Ezreal, but correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yes, I think it was against Kalista and some hard controlling support. I'm not exactly sure right now, but I think it was Thrash or something like that.
Kalma, yeah.
And of course, that is a little bit of a trouble when you're sticking solo lane. Here we have some more action here in the top lane right now, as Mighty Dragon is in the red side jungle right now in the top side. So it's a possibility that there might be a gank towards mid lane or top lane. Noman's is a little bit of a hard position here because he still doesn't have his ultimate. And an Asik is coming in, so it might be a counter gank. Here comes Mighty Dragon, finds the knock-up onto Noman's, but decides not to go any further. And both of the junglers are heading off that mid lane, as Mighty Dragon still stays here while Lee Sin is going back around the bot side of Trundle's jungle, which means he's going to steal some precious farm from Trundle, and we might have a little bit here in action here in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, it looks like there is a lot of damage incoming from Aphelios and from Lulu. Yes, and now Ezreal and Yuumi are the ones who are having hard time. And I must say that back there on the mid lane, there was very nice action from both of the junglers. Never mind, there is
I'm going to stop you here, because right now we have some very interesting tower dive. Here comes an amazing flash from this Ezreal. Might not be able to save his life right now. And Anasik is stunking that.
Oh,
and that's the first blood for Yuumi.
Look at this Yuumi!
As a fail flash come from Lee Sin, not enough damage dealt to Ezreal, not able to find that kill. Amazing juke from Hanninger, that he jukes that Q from this Lee Sin. That's Aphelios probably dead. He manages to pick up a kill from Hanninger, but it's getting killed by Mighty Dragon. What an amazing action here on the bot lane in the very beginning of the game.
The amount of shields that Yuumi was able to provide under that tower was absolutely insane, and that's what saved Ezreal apart from that failed flash. Absolutely stunning.
And I have to give props to Mighty Dragon as well, because even though I'm not exactly seeing a lot of wards right now in the bot side of the map, I have a feeling that he predicted that Lee Sin is going to be probably all that damage from Zoe. I think that he predicted that Lee Sin is going to be on that bot side, and he was able to make that counter gank happen and managed it to pick up a kill from that Aphelios.
That's the second time in a row that both junglers are able to read each other. You could see when Trundle was next to the mid lane thinking about maybe going to gank it, maybe not. Anasik was already there, ready to support his Kassadin in case this gank really happens.
Anasik tries to take that that dragon. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you here again. But in the meantime, both members of CC are knowing that he's doing that and just trying to connect the dots here and trying to help. But Trundle is incoming. Nomans executes into Sonics, finds some very nice damage. That's a dragon for Unicorns of Love, as Mighty Dragon was way too far from the dragon pit.
That this time was his mistake. He wasn't just able to get to that dragon on time. If he was there with the help of Yuumi, who was sitting on him back then, this could have been some different action, but no, this dragon truthfully comes to Unicorns of Love.
Mighty Dragon is still staying here with his support, as they're going to fight for that control ward, not giving him to the CC, and re-engage from Mighty Dragon as he just goes into Aphelios, but Gadget finds an enormous amount of damage, and that's almost a solo kill, I'm sorry, for Gadget, as there's some more action here continuing. Here comes Gadget, he dies, and because of that sleep from Zoe, probably Santos is going to get picked, as well as three members of CC are chasing him. Here comes the flash from Zoe, not able to kill him, but an ultimate and an auto attack is able to pick up yet another kill. What's an action happening here in the bot lane?
All the action all the time. That's some very nice game finally. And it looks like there is some more action going to happen on the top lane this time as Ananasik is going there for the sweet,
And
sweet
that's an
gank.
ultimate from Boss. I'm knocking up that unholy. He comes, maybe a Propsting's ultimate yet again. No ultimate. Yes, an ultimate available for Ananasik. Here comes the kill. Here comes an ultimate from Seth as well, but it's not going to be enough as non-holy is going to get downed by Boss and Ananasik. Insane amount of skirmishes, but that's exactly what you want from Unicorns of Love. Yes, you don't really have this resources to answer as much as CC have this ability in the early game, but think about it, it's still 2-2 Aphelios. Yes, you have a 2-0 Zoe that has this killing spree, but on the other hand, you have 2-2 Aphelios. And you don't want to have 2-2 Aphelios.
No, you don't want the enemy team to have 2-2 Aphelios. We could see back there in the jungle, there was some insane amount of damage coming from Aphelios. And if you're Trundle, even if you have Zoe sitting on you, you just don't fight Aphelios like that.
And we're going to see some very interesting replay over here as Gadget was picked up and Santos was almost able to get away from his life, but it was a flash and an ultimate from Zoe able to pick up that kill.
Very desperate flash, but Zoe needs these kills. She needs to get this meat a little bit to start dealing some damage, because as soon as Kassadin comes to the team fights, she will have hard time if she doesn't have enough kills on her side already.
In the meantime, I would like to point out that I have a feeling that Ezreal and Yuumi are taking their Herald. Might be successful with that, might be not, as there is no jungle to somehow interfere into that bit of an action right now. We have some more farming. Yes, indeed, they have managed to pick up that Herald, and they're going to re-engage on boss, probably trying to use that Herald on the top lane and give some more money to that Ezreal. But Aphelios just picked up 2 turret plates, if I'm not mistaken, and
Yes.
that's a lot of money. Here comes an ultimate from Aphelios. Non-holy is in a very desperate position right now. Here comes Ananasik, probably is going to queue him as Gadget desperately tries to push that lane into this bot tower, and here comes the kick. Manages to escape to this queue with a flash. Some more damage coming from Non-Holy, but it is not enough as they have just stalled their prey under that tower. That was actually quite menacing from Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, that was a little bit of overkill with that ultimate from Lulu, but overall that was nice, and that was a very good timing for them.
And Mighty Dragons looks to engage into that, and Anasik, look how insane amounts of damage coming from Trundle. He's gonna have to use his W in order to flash away and go from that Mighty Dragon. He's still chasing them, and he was even stuck into that minion, so he had to use his Q and dash in order to get out, because he was body blocked by the amount of minions right now, and that Trundle is becoming quite a threat right now.
They almost managed to punish Unicorns of Love for taking that kill.
And here comes Unicorns of Love, is going to probably get punished right now as Gadget might not escape from his life, but Lulu comes here with a save. Santos is just doing something absolutely amazing as Herald is going to be popped up. And here comes the bot lane's tower, probably absolutely rightfully dead for CC as well. And that's some more gold going to that Ezreal.
And that's another point to the words that support are the true MVPs of any game. You could see that Yuumi just saving her Ezreal from a very desperate situation. And right here, Lulu did the same with those shields. Absolutely beautiful. The things that the supports here do to save their ADCs and to make sure they live for a little longer and get more kills. It's absolutely gorgeous. But we have yet another action on the top lane.
We have more action here in the top lane as Boss is just going into that Non-Holy, managed to install quite a chunk of damage into that Seth, but luckily for Seth, one good W, and that is some more nice damage. Here comes the sleep from that Zoe, and here comes Gadget Noman's being popped up, it manages to get out with his ultimate. That's some nice damage coming from both mid laner and jungle from Team CC, but Santos and Ananasik are already here, trying to maybe shift the tides for Unicorns of Love, but they don't really want to find that skirmish right now, I think, as they're both going to... That's some ultimate coming from Aphelios, not able to give them that much of damage because of that. Yuumi is going there. Here comes Nomas, here comes Boss, both of these, and that's a 5-on-3 from Unicorns of Love. They managed to pick up a kill from Israel. Here comes Santos, is incredibly low, but here comes an ultimate from Boss. There starts to chase them even later. Yuumi's not able to pick up anybody, and that's because he's going to get killed, and that's even a 4-member of CC getting absolutely smashed by Unicorns of Love. Amazing setup for that team fight.
They are just not scared at any point to just go in because they know they have a lot of damage, and if they're quick enough, there will be absolutely no time for crowd control to initiate any damage coming to
Was an
answer them.
almost steal of that dragon from the Ezreal's ult. It was just a mere second later, and probably that dragon would have been stolen.
But no,
What a game!
that's a second dragon coming to Unicorns of Love this time, and the next dragons are going to be Infernal, if I'm not mistaken, so that's even more solid damage coming for Idol, the team who managed to pick
And
it
we're
up.
going to see some here instant replay of that action over here, because we can see that Anasaki managed to pull off that kill because he kicked Ezreal. Santos is almost getting kicked away from that team fight, but manages to get away. Skash is just deliberately almost denied from getting on anybody, and because of that, he was able not to give any heals to his team and getting killed as well. What an amount of action happening in this game. Only 13 minutes into the game, and I have a feeling that I have seen more skirmishes than in any game up to that point.
Same. And I feel so bad for Skash. He was just stopped in the middle of his flight. That could have saved him potentially, but no. Poor cat went down in that team fight.
And while we have a little bit of a moment, we can breathe without the skirmishes and team fights happening over the second, I just want to point out that we have something here that Unicorns of Love are really, really good at. They love to team fight. They're unicorns that do love to team fight. And you can see it here because they were able to set up that team fight in the Dragon Pit absolutely amazing, as both Nomans and Boss were using their teleport in order to get and sandwich 3 members of CC and just stampeding all over them. And that is something you really have to think about while playing against Unicorns of Love. They love to do that, and they're going to do that as much as they can.
And if they manage to get you into a team fight, chances are you're going to get killed. Especially in this situation when even the pick of Unicorns of Love is
what damage
better.
coming onto that Zoe? It looks like Nomans is going to try and dive Zoe under that tower, being absolutely knocked and probably denied from Mighty Dragon. Manages to escape that dream, gadgets his ultimate over the wall, tries to get away from Mighty Dragon, able to escape, dodge that ultimate, and Mighty Dragon able to escape with his armor, and then Nasik in the meantime is picking up a kill on the top lane. What's going on in this game?
That's a non-stop action in all the sides of the Summoner's Rift. Oh, what a game.
And Mighty Dragon is already here in the mid lane. Maybe he's going to try and get some kind of an action here in the meantime at that mid lane. But it looks like Anasik is going to set his attention on the bot side of the map, trying to pick up that Herald whilst there's action in the mid lane. Look at the damage of Gadget. He is already just able to solo stop those Mighty CC from getting that, and they have noticed. CC have noticed that the Anasik is doing that Herald. They're coming in. They're going to get sandwiched yet again, but Gadget is extremely low as Ezreal was picking him. Boss is getting into that game, almost killing Mighty Dragon. Here comes Lee Sin onto that Yuumi. Some more. There's an ultimate from Yuumi. I'm very sorry. I'm very confused of what's going in here right now, and that's a kill because they have managed to pick up that Zoe. Excuse me, but what's going on in here?
This time, however, I must say there was purely a mistake from crowd control. Just look at the wards at this side of the map around Herald. There is just one ward standing there from the CC side, and then there are red wards everywhere from Unicorns of Love. They knew exactly that CC was coming. They knew exactly that they were in the bad situation, and that's something that CC just couldn't have predicted because they didn't know what was going on around them. And they got sandwiched and they got punished for not placing those wards.
And I have to give all the props to Unicorns of Love as much as I can, because setting those team fights, they do manage to pick up a moment while nobody is able and prepared to actually fight. You can see members of Unicorns of Love is just popping out of everywhere. That's why it works so well. You never know from what direction is the fight is coming from. You never know from what direction you're going to get slapped into your face. And that's 40 seconds more into that dragon, which actually means that Unicorns of Love are going to take that dragon, and it's probably not going to get contested from CC. And if yes, they really need to think about a new way of taking those team fights, because from right now, they're not exactly doing a good job at it.
And they're going to get an even a worse situation as soon as Unicorns of Love managed to get that Dragon Soul, which is something they're definitely trying to go for, because you can see they're being concentrated on the bottom side of the map right now, while CC, well, they're trying to be everywhere now, while right now that's the worst situation for them. That's the worst time for them to be spread. Yes, Seth might be able to get that tower, but will the tower be worth losing yet another dragon, an infernal dragon, to Unicorns of Love, while you are already losing to them and you are dealing so less damage than them? Absolutely not.
And CC are just giving up. They are not even going to try and contest that dragon. They have decided, okay, screw it. We're going to try to take some different objects if we can. And it seems like Anasik is going to pick that dragon solo for himself. And it seems like Boss might be in a little bit of a trouble here, because we have 4 members of CC getting in there. Not exactly 4 anymore, only 2. But that control ward from Boss might have saved him from getting that. Here comes to engage. Here comes an ultimate from that. Here comes an ultimate from Seth. Amazing amount of damage being soaked in by Non-Holy, but it's not going to be enough, as Boss is going to find that solo kill. Getting into the Mighty Dragon. Look at the damage that Boss is able to inflict on that Trundle. He's chasing Mighty Dragon. And that's a solo double kill. In the meantime, we have some more action here in the bot lane, and that's a 5-0 exchange for Unicorns of Love.
And look at the amount of kills on Aphelios, on Lee Sin, on Wukong. They are unstoppable at this point.
And that's a Herald being popped out for Unicorns of Love. That's 3 lanes are being pushed simultaneously, and CC are just not able to pick up the pace that Unicorns of Love have, because they're going, okay, we're going to try to pick your pace and maybe answer with something, while Unicorns is just standing there and going, no, you won't.
Well, there was quite a nice attempt actually from CC to try to do at least something.
And that's just some slip coming here onto Aphelios. Might be able to catch, but here comes the knockup. And Gadget decided to stay and just give that amount of damage to somebody, but not able to find anything, as he going to get picked up by Ezreal. I'm sorry, I'm losing my breath. And just, you know what? I want to smash a little bit into Unicorns right now, because we are being constantly saying that CC are doing mistakes on this map, but just think about Gadget here for a second. Okay, never mind, because Mighty Dragon is going to be probably able to set up a very good trap from that boss. 4 members of CC are looking to pick up a trap onto this boss. Sleep is not finding his way around it. Boss is just trying to inflict as much damage as he can. Manages to get away with his clone, as nobody able to track him down right now. Here comes a teleport from somebody. That's Snowman's, and a teleport from somebody as well. That's an Holy. So that is probably a second ultimate gets popped up. That's an ultimate from Seth. He's able to pick up that kill, as CC have managed to chase him. And at the same time, Noman's already picking up a kill on Mighty Dragon. Here comes to Sleep. He's probably going to be killed, not exactly going to be killed, as ultimate from Uni, as not finding anybody in the place, and they have decided to chase Santos. Here comes the Flash, manages to get away from the fray. And because of that, Lulu, yet again, Nomans is able to escape with his life.
Look at how quickly Crowd Control decided to change their tactics, and look how nicely it seems to be working for a change after all the team fights we've seen. They know they cannot win any team fight with Unicorns of Life. They're just too strong at this point. So they're just trying to catch them one by one with all the forces.
And Unholy is probably going to get up this, and Anasik over here manages to escape by pulling himself onto a ward. We have some more instant action coming here right now, as Anomans is going to pick that blue buff for himself, and maybe he's going to try and join the fray, while Wukong is going to be probably doing the same. Here comes the Sleep, not finding anybody here right now, as CC are probably going to try and go back right now, as there's not going to be any team fight for the Baron right now. And exactly, I just want to quickly pick up on your point. I'm sorry we're having some more replay coming up in here right now, but it doesn't actually matter, because I just want to point out not exactly only that CC have managed to change their tactics and do something good for themselves, which is very good, but also I just want to point out that Gadget is way too overconfident. He's not afraid of anything. He feels that he's on the top of his heap, and that's why he's getting constantly caught. We have seen this happen in the early game on the bot lane already, and that's happening yet again right now.
Yes, and that time when he got caught right here in the mid lane, his support was with him, so obviously he was feeling even more confident because he deals a lot of damage, and Santas is an amazing support. But the problem is that Lulu just didn't have the ultimate up. If only Santas had its ultimate, maybe this overconfidence of Gadget could have paid off, but no, there was no chance for him.
And CC are going for the same tactics yet again as they're trying to cut Boss here in the bot lane while he's alone in here, but not manages to pick up a fray because Boss is now learning and he now knows that he's going to be constantly tried to be caught right now. In the meantime, Ananasic is going to probably try and pick up that Baron. There's 4 members of CC ready to join the fray right now as Noman's taking a little bit of a chunk of a damage right now. Xonia has received some damage a little bit as well, but he's going to get healed by this Yuumi. And it seems that CC have managed to delay a little bit that Baron, but just never mind because 15 seconds and we have yet another dragon coming up right now. And if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be Dragon Sword, but never mind. Nomads is getting caught right now here by Non-Holy. An amazing amount of CC coming to that Nomad, an amazing amount of damage. Manages to escape right now as there's nobody to hit the fray. He manages to get an ultimate from that Wukong. There's action is going everywhere right now as Wukong is basically one against the world and he's able to pick up Non-Holy. Everybody is extremely low right now as Gadget might be able to go down right now. He's going to get body blocked from Ananasic, not going to be killed. Boss just decides to re-engage at Santos is going to try to pick up the frame right now as well. And Anastic is able to pick up that kill on Zoe, and there's only one Ezreal left with Yuumi, and Unicorns of Love are decided to chase him down. Maybe not, as Anastic is still there, tries to join the fray as Santos just looks around and thinks if he has to go in and save his jungle or not. And Ezreal's just standing there, getting caught yet again by Unicorns of Love, and that is an ace. Almost an ace going for Unicorns of Love, and they're going to pick up the Dragon Soul.
Why did this Ezreal stop in the mid lane to try to clear that ward is very unclear to me, because he was escaping, he was dodging every single ability flying into him, and he could have managed to escape with the help of some speed up from Yuumi. Why did he decide to stay there and to pick up that ward? And also, may I just notice that Wukong, that beautiful teleport just in the middle of the enemy team, and them not noticing that and not understanding what exactly is coming for them. Wukong just did the whole team fight for Unicorns of Love this time.
And in the meantime, Zomans is getting caught here yet again in the top side, I'm sorry, of the jungle. I'm losing my words here in this game as we're going to see some replay from what was happening right here, because you can see that Nomans is getting actually very nicely caught right now because there's any sort of control coming from Crow control, but they don't manage to pick up that kill. In the meantime, Boss is just going alone and 5 members of CC and just smashing them into bits as the rest of Unicorns of Love are joining the fray. And just look at how low HP all 3 members of Unicorns of Love were. Gadget was almost picked up in here, Boss was almost picked up in here, and Nomans as well was almost dead. So I have a feeling that it was a little... In the meantime, we have Baron being killed by Unicorns of Love.
Oh, we missed some small action here, but oh my god, there is action happening everywhere, all the time. Beautiful game.
And it seems like Unicorns of Love is just knocking on the door of Crow Crowd. I'm very sorry. I'm actually losing my words right now because even face hurts of saying so many words per second. Manages to pick up some amazing slap onto that Aphelios. He's going to probably get chased down from Team CC. Absolutely getting chased as much as he's able to. But here comes an Anastic from the backline. Manages to pick up 1 kill. Gadget is probably going to go down, but Sonics is getting killed as well. Mighty Dragon is able to pick up that Aphelios, but no one's joins the fray as well. Here comes the Zoe, dead as well. Here comes Non-Holy, probably is going to be killed as well. And here comes the Yuumi as the last member of Team CC getting picked up. And I think that this is game for Unicorns of Love going 2-0 in the second day of LCL.
What a game! That was some beautiful game. You don't see something like this happening every day.
Absolute domination showed from Unicorns of Love, and if you want to make a statement that I am a team not to be trifled with, that is exactly the way to make that sort of a statement, as CC are going to try to pick them up and stop them from ending that game, but they're not going to be able to do that as Boss last hits that Nexus and picks up the game for Unicorns of Love. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for being us with here. It's been a pleasure to procast this game. My name was Brilmann. I was here joined by Solari. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next game.
Bye.